I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Hello, and welcome to the Mickey Manual Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Colton.
I'm Anthony.
And we're here to talk about Disney and give you some news and some cool conversation and maybe an update on the site or two. Who knows? Let's see how much Anthony did his coding this week. How much did you do?
Considering we're recording these one after another, 0.
No. Don't. Listen. You're not supposed to share with the listener that we're recording these back to back. That ruins the illusion of the show. It's okay. We'll just.
Oh, okay. We're recording
listener,
these.
We have done all the coding. The site is nearly ready. No, wait. I feel like I'm overcorrecting. Do you think I'm overcorrecting?
I think you're overcorrecting. We haven't seen each other in a week, and the site's halfway done.
Okay, let's just get into it with the news.
Like that was actually funny and had some pizzazz to it. I think there were fireworks between us. I feel it too.
Let's get straight into it with the news of this and or last week, depending on how quickly we can edit the show.
Yes.
Anthony, what's going on in the Disney world?
I didn't bring up the Twitter handle. That was good. I didn't bring up the Twitter handle. I gotta look this up now. There we go. Twitter. I got it. That FL Feeling on Twitter has spotted the gondolas in Disney's Hollywood Studios.
The actual gondolas?
The actual gondolas. There is a gondola that is on the tracks and it's moving in this video. We'll put a link on the show description.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at this now, and that's it's not. I wonder if like they're just gonna paint this gondola because it's clearly not finished yet. It's just gray. Or if this is like a prototype car that they're using.
It looks like a prototype car. It could be shrink wrapped, but at the same time, I'm excited that they've actually gone ahead and started testing it. It kind of tells me that they're closer to finishing it than when they first started.
Well, I would imagine they're closer to finishing it than when they first started. I mean, that would mean they're building it.
It would mean they're building it, but at the same time, Hollywood Studios seems like it is in construction hell right now.
Yeah. It definitely feels less crazy than it did a couple of months ago. I was there a couple weeks ago, and they have the walking path fully restored from Boardwalk. So that was really nice because I think I take that pretty much every time I go to studios because I don't really use Disney transportation too much. I tend to go on my own 2 feet as much as I can. But it's definitely, there are many walls everywhere.
Especially from the buses. It feels like the buses are about 2 miles away from where the park entrance is. And the last time we stayed for the first time on resort, and it felt like the walk from the buses to the front of the park was longer than from the front of the park to the end of the park. It was just insane.
Yeah, on my last trip, I definitely felt like the bus station was a little far out there. Actually, on a whole bunch of my trips, just because it feels like they've been doing construction on the bus station for so long, and making you walk all the way around the new bus terminal to get to the park from the current bus terminal. However, it does seem that they're starting to do some work on the cosmetic elements of the new terminal, which is always a good sign, because with any luck, it means that completion is not too far away. So perhaps we've already lived through the summer where we had to walk really far to the bus.
The great transportation shortage of 2018.
Is it a shortage of transportation or just a really long hike to get to transportation?
I mean, I might as well walk from the resort to Disney Hollywood Studios at this point.
I mean, I walk from Boardwalk to studios every time I go to studios. I just like that walk. I'm crazy like that.
I don't like walking. I'll walk the parks, but if I have nothing to see, I get bored real quick.
No, but there's always something to see. You have the ducks, you have the beautiful views of the other resorts. It's fantastic.
Look at all those cars.
Not when you're walking from Boardwalk to Studios. There are no cars that you can see. One of these trips, I'll get you to do it. You'll see. You'll come around.
Yeah, I'll come around, man.
I'll make you come around. But yeah, there's construction everywhere. I mean, over in Magic Kingdom, they have the railroad closed now.
Nice segue, Sims. Okay, news item number 2. The Walt Disney World Railroad is closed indefinitely for the construction of Tron. This is crazy because I was there just a couple weeks ago, and they had uprooted the tracks from that back pathway between the circus area, back of Fantasyland to Space Mountain. That entire pathway is closed. I've never seen anything like that.
Now, I wonder, I'm sorry, because you put this item in the show notes. Did Disney say that the railroad is closed indefinitely, or is that, like, phrasing that you used?
That's phrasing I used.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, if Disney said it's closed indefinitely, like, they don't even know if they're going to open the railroad again, that would...
Oh, yeah, you know what? That's
make the railroad fans so angry. But yeah, I think it's, I mean, I understand why they have to do it, because they have to get the vehicles back and forth for the Tron construction, and I'm very excited for the Tron coaster. It looks amazing from the footage I've seen from the other parks, but I don't know, I never really rode the railroad too much. I think I've been on it 3 times total. Every time I go on it, I think, wow, this is really nice, I should do this more, and then for whatever reason, it's not a big highlight to my trips. So for those of you who are railroad fans, I'm really sorry that the thing that you love is currently inoperable.
Yeah.
But it seems like it will be back. It's the Walt Disney World Railroad. I mean, Walt himself was obsessed with transportation and railways. I don't think it's gone for good.
All right, so I just looked up indefinitely, and it says for an unlimited or unspecified period of time, and that's what I meant by indefinitely. I'm blaming Judy. Stupid Judy.
Stupid energy.
All right, now, yeah, we can move on now. Speaking of things people don't care about.
Wow. Are we really going to use that as like a topic of conversation here? We're the Mickey Manuel Podcast, the show that talks about things people don't want to talk about and people don't care about. Welcome, listeners. You are immediately bored.
Well, no, you know what?
What don't people care about? Go ahead. Come on. No, we're leaving this all in. What don't people care about?
Colton, did you hear that Pixar Avenue's open in Hollywood Studios?
I did hear, and let me tell you something. I care about that so much.
Do you?
Not really.
I'm not caring about it too much either. But then again, I haven't experienced it yet. It only opened, I believe, on the 18th. So I don't find myself specifically excited for Pixar Avenue because I feel like it's just a rehash without the entrance to Toy Story Mania.
It looks to me like from everything we've seen that it's just they took all of the decorations from the Incredibles Expo, which I really liked, and they were just like, oh yeah, we'll just put those on the walls in studios. We're
going to paint some silhouettes on the bricks of the baby.
Yeah.
What's his name? Jack.
Yeah.
Paint some footsteps on the wall and make it look like he's chasing an animal,
and we'll make a minimalist, Futura design Edna Mode sign, and we'll bring back the terrifying Edna Mode meet and greet, and we'll just call it a day, and we'll have a party because we don't know what to do with the Incredibles, so we'll just have a party.
Now, this is my question about Edna Mode here. Isn't Edna Mode supposed to be little itty bitty and she's taller than I am? So it's like, am I supposed to be shrunk down in this? I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. The look of Edna Mode in the parks is like nightmare fuel to me. It's just, I find it very unsettling.
I don't know. I like it a lot, but at the same time, it confuses me that character is so big when they could have probably found somebody very small to do that role and made her head smaller because her head is giant.
Yeah.
But there is a new dance party there, and I'm thinking that is exactly the reason that they took the dance party at the Magic Kingdom and they took the Incredibles out so that they can bring them over to Hollywood Studios. They knew that space was going to be vacant.
Yeah, I kind of, like, with where we are now, looking back, I kind of wish that they hadn't done the Incredibles Expo, because I feel like because we're living in a world that had the Incredibles Expo, it seems really cheap to have this Pixar Place overlay to what was otherwise just a dead end covered with shrubbery. But if we hadn't had the Incredibles Expo last summer, then this would have been all new, and it would have been something to talk about. But they kind of, they already burned that candle, and once it's out, and once we've seen the thing, you can't take it back. You can't put it back in the jar and just reveal it to us later as a new thing, because we've already seen it before. And the Incredibles Expo was really cool, and it was really fun, and, I like the idea of, we don't really know what to do with Tomorrowland, so we're just gonna put this overlay on top of it and see how it works. And it makes you wonder, like, can you do this with other properties? Can you do a Stark Expo in Tomorrowland? Can, you bring the Incredibles Expo back every 2 or 3 years? Like, that would be really cool. But I don't know if any of that's gonna happen, because it feels like they were just it feels like they got the shipment on the Incredibles stuff earlier than they could open Pixar Place, and so they were like, we have to do something with it. Let's just throw it in Tomorrowland, and now it has its home that it was originally meant for, and the Tomorrowland idea was just kind of a thing to, make use of the stuff that they had because they had spent the budget money on it.
Yeah, they were just riding the wave, because I know that they knew the new space in Hollywood Studios wasn't going to be ready by the time The Incredibles was out in theaters. So I'm thinking they were just trying to ride the wave and continue that wave into Hollywood Studios. I think it makes it seem a little bit sloppy, the execution a little bit sloppy, because honestly, it seems like a placeholder area to me. It seems like they might turn that area into a themed walkway into Galaxy's Edge, and I could be very wrong, but it feels like that is a temporary area.
I do think you're very wrong about that. I think if there's going to be a themed walkway into Galaxy's Edge, it's going to go from Toy Story Land, if it's not the one at Grand Avenue. But I don't know. I like the idea of Pixar Place. I like the idea of, we don't really know what to do with this area of the park, and it's right near Toy Story Land, so we're just going to do other Pixar properties. And like, I think there's a lot of space to work with that and to be creative in it in a very Hollywood Studios way. They had the old what was it, Studio 4, I think, where every 6 or 8 months they would swap out the theming of the entire building to be whatever the recent theatrical release was. And, you went into it one time and it was Pirates of the Caribbean, or another time and it was Narnia, and that was really cool. So if you're going to do that with Pixar Place, that's really cool, because, a lot of Pixar movies and franchises take place in urban areas, and you have that urban look over there. There's that old story of Steve Jobs getting all teary-eyed when he walked over to the area for the first time, because it felt so much like California. I think that opening up that with The Incredibles only 8 months after The Incredibles Expo, or I guess 6 months after The Incredibles Expo, just cheapens it. Like, if you're going to do that, then don't start with The Incredibles, start with, Monsters, Inc., and have Monstropolis be the first overlay for Pixar Place, and run Monstropolis for a year, or a year and a half, or 8 months, or however long you're going to do it, and then bring back The Incredibles.
Well, I agree, like 100%, but I think that they might be missing a big opportunity. Then again, it could be completely redundant, but Toy Story 4 is going to come out in June already, and if they made the Toy Story 4 area, or the Pixar Place area, or the Pixar Avenue area, show new toys from Toy Story 4 and introduce new toys, I think that it would be a more effective use of that space, and then possibly keep the one man's dream area and devote that to the Incredibles, since Guardians of the Galaxy is gone pretty much. I think that they've just kind of put a kibosh on that whole project, seeing as what happened. But I don't know. I don't think that they've oversaturated the Toy Story aspect of the parks. I think people really want Toy Story, and it could be a second area for meet and greets. I think The Incredibles has kind of run its course for right now, and they can always bring it back. And there are so many cool, inspired Pixar properties that they can bring back into the area. But I think that since Toy Story 4 is releasing in June, it might be the perfect time to, one, promote the new area, and two, promote the movie. I mean, it'll be like a double Pixar promotion. Or Wreck-It Ralph, even.
I mean, I definitely agree that The Incredibles, as like a dance party and a handful of character meet and greets, has run its course for the time being. I think there are other ways to do Incredibles in the parks that they haven't explored, that you could still have that presence right now without it being overdone. But the current incarnation of Incredibles in the parks it's a little played out. I don't think I agree that a Toy Story 4 tie-in with Pixar Place would really be the best thing for them to do right now, even with the new movie looming, just because they have that new land that they debuted that's entirely devoted to Toy Story. It's like, well, we have this big Toy Story area, and then we have this other second area that's also Toy Story, but not really, because it's not as well themed as everything else. Like, I don't know. I don't think that would be the most cohesive. But yeah, I think this whole conversation might be a thing that we look back on in 5 years and we say, oh, how silly, we were nitpicking over what they should have done when this was just the first iteration of a cyclical thing, and like, haha, if only past us could have seen that, we would have been softer on it. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that Incredibles, even if they already had the props, if they had already spent the money on the props, whatever, is the best way to go about opening it so soon after closing an Incredibles event one park over.
Yeah, I don't even think that all of the props made it over from Tomorrowland, honestly. I think that a lot of those photo opportunities are still in Tomorrowland, as far as I remember. I know that there is a giant robot. It looks like an octopus. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's still there by the Carousel of Progress.
Oh, they still have the Omnidroid photo op over in Tomorrowland.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think I noticed that, but I wasn't looking for it. I'll definitely. Yeah. That's cool. I'll keep an eye out for that on my next trip.
Yeah, I thought that was a great photo opportunity, but there's no photo pass there, so it kind of seems out of place and dormant, like it's just sitting there waiting for somebody to take its picture. But speaking about street parties, you were just speaking about street parties. There's a new street party in the Magic Kingdom, Sims.
There is. We have yet another version of the Move It, Shake It, insert another word, it street party parade hybrid thing over at Magic Kingdom. This one is the Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance It, which is like, I don't know how many different versions of the show have we had? Has it been like 3 or 4 at this point? They keep putting new outfits on everybody and giving us like a new song to back the show. But it's always the same thing. It's a bunch of, people bouncing around and dancing, and a couple of floats with big character, like, members of the Fab Five on top, and then, other, I guess, quote, lesser characters on the bottom, and a couple people walking around in stilts, and everybody's smiling a little too wide, and it's ridiculous, and it blocks up traffic on Main Street and in the hub all day long, but it's just a fun party, and the music is so catchy, and I can't help but love every version of this show that they ever debut.
Comparing to the last show, I think it was Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It. I think that the Mouse Could Dance It is so much better. I think that they give each character their own time. And have you noticed that Goofy is moving his mouth?
I haven't. I haven't watched this parade at all. I've intentionally stayed away from all the footage of it because I don't want to see it until I'm there. I'm fine to talk about it or whatever. I'm not going to go all crazy, no spoilers on this one like I did with Happily Ever After, but I don't want to see it until I'm seeing it in person.
Yes. Okay. So without treading,
no, you can spoil it. You can say anything you want to try and spoil it. Like, I'm not at that level. I just don't want to actually witness it with my eyes, looking at someone else's video of it.
Well, okay. So all of the characters' mouths move. All of the main characters on top of the floats, and there's 4 floats now. I believe maybe even 5, but all of the characters move. Even a character that you wouldn't suspect being a main character. And I thought that was one of the coolest additions to the parade.
Does Pluto's mouth move when he barks?
I don't know. I haven't seen that part, but I know that I know Minnie's mouth moves. I know Mickey's mouth moves. I know, no, not Pluto. Donald's mouth moves. I'm not sure if Daisy's in the parade, but I know Goofy definitely. His mouth moves. And then there's another character, like I said, that is just completely, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't say deserve their own float, but it was very unexpected and it made me, feel like, okay, I can get behind this. This is cool. They're showcasing some of the lesser known Disney characters.
Is it Clarabelle and Horace Horsecollar?
Oh, yes, it is.
Jesus,
symbols. Colton, yes, it is. But that's the first time I've seen Clarabelle really. I mean, she's not part of the Fab Five, so.
For what it's worth, I'm fully expecting it to not be Clarabelle, and you're pulling my leg on this, and everybody listening is laughing at me, and I'm gonna get there, and it's gonna be like Chip and Dale. Chip and Dale are on top of a float, and Clarabelle is nowhere to be found. And,
you think I'm that much of a troll?
And yes, I do think I know you're that much of a troll.
Well, you'll see once you see it with your own eyes. I mean, I have no doubt that you're planning a trip for February already, and.
Nothing official yet, but we'll see. The next trip is never too far off.
I'm gonna announce it ahead of time so people can go and get your autograph. We're stars now that we have our own podcast.
Oh yeah, we're stars for all however many of our listeners.
Yes,
if people are even listening to this. But yeah, the new party, new song. Love the new song. So much fun. I have listened to it like 20 times today alone.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it looks like a fun party. I'm hoping it stays around for until the next time I visit the Magic Kingdom. I'm actually looking forward to seeing something like that. Hopefully I can take another trip here in between getting another season pass.
I think it's gonna run. I wouldn't be surprised if they ran this party all year, like the Mickey's 90th birthday party, just because Disney seems to conceive of single day anniversaries as year-long events, and they seem to conceive of year-long events as 3-year events. If the Year of a Million Dreams taught us anything, or if the year-long Millennium Celebration taught us anything, or if the Epcot 35th anniversary taught us anything, they take these totems and they just stretch them into events that last forever. And I don't know, I kind of like it. I feel like a lot of people in the Disney fan community get a little upset that these things last so long, and it's like, oh no, I don't like this, go back to normal. But I mean, I've been watching these things happen for well over 20 years, and it always goes back to normal. Everything goes back to the way it was. Just enjoy it while it's a thing while you can, because you're gonna be sad when it's gone, and you're gonna be nostalgic when it has been gone.
And I just want, on our first episode, I want to let everybody know that this isn't for necessarily for the diehards. We're going to say things that are going to offend some of the more crazy Disney fan, if you will. And I would say that we're pretty in the know. But we're not to the point where we know exactly how tall to the inch Space Mountain is. But yeah, I
Space Mountain is 90 feet high. You don't know that?
Oh, stop that. Stop it. You're an idiot savant.
Space Mountain is 90 feet high. How do you not know this?
I don't know this.
Do you know the tallest structure in Disney World?
The tallest structure in Disney World
tallest
is
structure
the
in
Tree
Disney
of
World.
Life.
No.
No.
It is Everest.
It is the Tower of Terror.
No, it's Everest.
No, really?
It's Everest, yeah. Everest is the tallest structure. Do you know how tall it is?
It is just tall enough.
It is 199 feet tall.
199 feet tall.
Do you know why it is 199 feet tall?
So that it gets around having to put lights at the top?
Yes, because at 200 feet in the state of Florida, you need to have a blinking light on the top.
I'm good. I'm bad.
Not a crazy fan knowing the heights of things.
Are you kidding me? I have a Google Home. I don't need to know the heights of things. I can ask Google.
I knew these heights before everybody had Google in their pocket.
I have books. I have coffee table books.
Do you have coffee table books about coffee tables?
I ordered another one. It's coming on Tuesday. Thank you very much.
Which one did you get?
The Everything Disney book.
Everything Disney?
The Everything Disney book. An illustrated guide to the history of Walt Disney.
We will see about that. I'm borrowing that book when you're done with it.
I'm buying 2 and 3 copies. I can tell you that much. I mean, I'm going to have one still wrapped in the plastic. It's going to be memorabilia and then one to ruin. Because I'm probably going to cut the pages out and scan them and use them as artwork. I knew that would trigger you. I thought it would trigger you. Did it trigger you? Did it trigger you?
Moving on to the topic of the week.
Topic of the week.
All these acquisitions that Disney is doing, buying up all these different properties.
Mm-hmm.
The show notes say, what does it mean for the parks? But I think with at least a couple of them, we know what it means for the parks. It means new stuff for the parks.
But Universal Islands of Adventure already has the license to use what they want. Now, the question is, what does that mean for the parks in Florida in general? Universal Islands of Adventure has Spider-Man. They have the Hulk. They have Doctor Doom. They have Fantastic Four.
I think it means I personally think it means it is a matter of time before Disney just says, how much money for our characters?
Do you think that there's a possibility that, and not to make this into a Universal conversation, but do you think there's a possibility that Universal is on the brink of removing the Marvel land and making it into a Nintendo land?
I don't think so. I think Universal knows that they will get the question from Disney of basically how much to be bought out if they just wait it out long enough.
True.
And I think that we're close enough to that point where Disney could, conceivably say just how much to buy us out of this agreement that was made, all these years ago, that Universal will probably just wait it out.
Now, I'm actually very intrigued by the fact that Disney in California, California Adventure, or I believe it's still California Adventure, that it doesn't have, or no one's announced a Marvel section of the park. And something's telling me that that's going to directly follow Star Wars over there. And maybe it might follow Star Wars over here.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like we got a taste of Marvel stuff over in California with the Mission Breakout attraction. I think that taste has proven to be sweet and tasty, and I think they want more of that, but I'm not sure. I don't follow California as closely as I follow Orlando. I do think that anything that we see in the other parks is very likely to be what will end up in Orlando when they do decide to build some Marvel stuff down there. I mean, they have the plans for the Ant-Man attraction. Is that at one of the Asian parks, I think?
I don't know. I haven't heard about this.
Oh yeah, there's an attraction here. Let me Google it real quick. Loud keyboard. Yeah, at Hong Kong Disneyland, there's Ant-Man and the Wasp Nano Battle, where you're like
Really?
they plan to shrink you down and put you, inside the events of the Ant-Man movies. it's part of the big expansion that Hong Kong is going under, and it's scheduled to open this March.
It would be a shame if the Florida parks never got to experience some of the Marvel stuff from eventually California. And trigger warning for everybody who loves Tower of Terror. I'm sorry. I think Tower of Terror, it's only a matter of time before Disney gets rid of the license and says we don't want to renew the license and we don't care about the IP. I believe we're already seeing that with Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm thinking we're going to get a Mission Breakout at Hollywood Studios. Hopefully later than sooner, because I think 2 iterations of that ride are, the perfect balance. I want to go to California and experience Mission Breakout, but I believe that we're eventually going to get that. I don't know about Marvel coming to Florida, but I really hope that is the next step in the parks in Florida after everything else is finished. I see 2021 rolling around and them announcing something big Marvel-wise in Florida. And I'm hoping so because I just see what they've done with Avatar, and I've seen what they've done with Toy Story, and I think that they can do something absolutely amazing, something absolutely groundbreaking with Marvel in the parks here in Florida.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I think it's also important to remember that no one really knows what Marvel's going to look like in even a year's time from now, because, Endgame hasn't come out yet. We don't know what the long-term effects to the narrative are going to be after the events of that film. And I just think that if they're gonna go all in on Marvel in Orlando, that they're probably gonna buy out the rights from Universal. And I think if they don't, then I don't really have much ability to speculate on what they will do with those properties in those parks.
I'm Googling the Hollywood Studios here to see how much room there is behind Tower of Terror.
Almost none, because you hit the Fantasmic Theater.
So behind Tower of Terror, I'm looking at the map right now, and it looks like there is a decent amount of space behind Rock and Roller Coaster and adjacent to Fantasmic, where they can actually build a decent land there. I really want to see what they're going to do with that plot of land, because there's no way they're not going to use that at this point.
Let me get this up. Oh, that area, yeah, behind Tower of Terror, you have the Fantasmic Theater, and you have the what is that? Are those cast buildings back there?
It looks like a cast building, but Disney hasn't really shied away from removing cast buildings in the past. I think there was also a cast building behind where Tony's Toontown Fair, it's the restaurant in Magic Kingdom.
Tony's Town Square?
Tony's Town Square. There were some cast buildings back there, I believe, and they were going to demolish a lot of that to make the room for the theater.
The theater that they're not building anymore?
So, I mean, it's a moot point at this point. But yeah, I don't think that they're not going to demolish something for the sake of saying, you know what, we're going to stay stagnant in this park, because I believe that at this point, they are extremely close to finishing Star Wars, and they're probably already thinking of what's next. Matter of fact, even then, Toy Story, there were cast member buildings back where Toy Story stands now, and they demolished those.
Yeah, but those cast buildings were long since abandoned ever since the backlot experience was mothballed. I don't know. Maybe. I don't throw the possibility away entirely. I just, looking at the map, it seems like it would be a lot of restructuring to the area. I mean, there is that sizable plot of land pushing all the way out, but in that corner between East Buena Vista and World Drive, I don't know. It looks like it's definitely too much land to not do anything with, but I don't know if they would really push all the way out to the maximum space to fill in, the gap around all of the roadways. All right, Anthony, we're getting towards the end of the show, and that means it's time for the planning tip of the week. What do you have for us this week?
This week, I wanted to start off with something that is painfully obvious to people who visit the park on a regular basis. Resort guests can schedule their fast passes using the app as long as they bought their tickets 90 days before they even arrive to the park. Imagine skipping 3 to 6 hours in line for a ride like Flights of Passage by simply logging into your phone and scheduling those fast passes when you're 90 days out. I think that it's one of the most useful tips, and that's why I've included it on the first episode. But man, when I go to the parks and I see people waiting 2 hours in line for Flights of Passage, I feel so bad. And that was a tip of the week. For week 1 of Trivia of the Week, I'm going to pass it over to you, Colton.
Hey, Anthony.
Yes?
Did you know, when you're in Hollywood Studios, way down on Sunset Boulevard, way at the end, right outside of Tower of Terror, you can stand there, crane your neck back, try not to get too sore, look up, watch the doors open, hear the people scream as they plummet down all those stories. Those screams that you're hearing aren't all from the ride. They're playing canned screams over a speaker system that's hidden from view to make it seem like the tower is more terrifying and mystical.
That's insane. I just learned that a couple weeks ago. I was very surprised, but the last time I went to Disney, I realized what they were doing. And I mean, it's all about atmosphere with Disney.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the screams that you're hearing, that is, voices of the people on the ride. That is real. But they add a little extra just to round it out, fill it out a bit, make it seem like, every single car is filled with people, as opposed to every now and then when you're really, really lucky and you get the car all to yourself and you get that beautiful photo pass picture of just you sitting right in the middle, looking absolutely terrified, wondering why you're doing this to yourself.
So you mean that mythical time early in the morning or towards the end of the day during the fireworks? When the line is 13 minutes? Wait a minute, that's more trivia.
We'll save that trivia for the next time. You don't want to burn through all the trivia right away. This is only our first episode. With any luck, we'll have an amazing 20-year run.
20 when we're going to be
20 years.
Old,
I want to go for 20 years on this show.
We're going to be looking back on this and saying, we sound so young. Man, I'm growing a beard right now. I'm really hoping that I can still grow hair in 20 years.
That'll make you too upset. Nope. We're just going to move on. We're just going to call it. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked the show, please leave us a review on iTunes. Yes, I know every podcaster says that, but it does help. We are a new show. We're still growing, and we need you. And if you're not going to leave us a review on iTunes, that's okay, because you can still help us out. The absolute best thing you can do is tell your friends. If you know anybody who's planning a trip and wants to, get in the Disney spirit, if you know anybody who plans too many trips, and they just can't get enough, recommend us to them. Tell us, just ask your friends who don't even care about Disney, don't care about theme parks, they have no joy in their lives whatsoever. Just bring up our website, put our show on in the background, and hit mute. It helps. We are at Mickey Manual on Twitter, and if you use the hashtag AskMickeyManual, we will get back to you on the show. We check that hashtag before we record, and we see if there's anything that you guys want to hear about specifically, and we're really interested in providing stuff for you, the listener, because you're the ones that really keep the show going and that help make the show be a thing. Without you, we would just be two weirdos in our rooms talking to each other over the internet.
Technically, we are two weirdos in our rooms talking to each other, but hopefully we have people listening to us.
So yeah, we are at Mickey Manual on Twitter. You can tweet at us using the hashtag AskMickeyManual to get your question read live on the show. And all of our show notes are available in any modern podcast app or online at mickeymanual.com/podcast/1. That's the number 1. Don't spell it out.
That was perfect.
Stop saying that. You're making me blush.
See ya real soon.